we go. Good morning. Welcome to Monday Morning Messages. I'm Candace Smith, and we did it. Okay, back again for some more fun anecdotes and life lessons. Oh, everything is funny today. So, hope everybody's doing great. Thanks for joining me. Amazing as usual. And I was thinking about something like if I was a comedian and collected bits, which I kind of used to and still do, but not getting paid professionally to be a comedian. But I want to say this so that if you see another comedian using this bit, that you'll think Candace did that. And although she was not touring or getting paid for that joke, she was the original. And so I hope no one takes it too seriously. That's, kind of what we think about a lot of things. But so I was thinking about, I don't even know if I can say it, rhymes with Maxine. And it's like, anyway, I hope it takes it too seriously. But like thinking about going to do that, and it was like, yes, I, went to get the, Maxine or whatever it is, and I actually did not get it. But I told my husband I was gone for 2 hours and sat in the parking lot of Bojangles eating a large fry and talking to my friends on the phone. So that was the first thing I thought was funny, was it's just like telling your husband you go to get it and you're just like gone for 2 hours. And then the second one was, I was thinking about like people really, dragging out these like side effects or symptoms sort of afterwards. And then it was like the demographic is really like, people with kids, women with kids, and they're just like, oh yeah, everything, this is, so they can just like not be doing anything for 3 days. All reported cases are women with children between the ages of, 18 and 48. So it's like all these reported side effects are people that just don't want to do anything for 3 days. Like no men complained about anything. Oh, what I find funny is interesting. But yes, it's like, dear Jesus, please put humor in the hearts of whoever hears this and take it lightly, because that's the way it's meant to be taken. It made me laugh, so I thought I would share. And if someone does it, seen it first. But not to downplay anyone's real experiences, of course. So yeah, and it was funny because I thought about a lot of things this week, and I was just like, oh, this would be great. I'll know in advance what I'm saying. And the universe was like, you will not. And then it just came to me like humor. And it was so fitting because, well, life, just first of all. But I had this thing about, my little bit before this, and it's like, that's what sort of made me laugh. And then that's, what I hope to bring to other people is just like, a little bit of lightness and laughter. And then they were just like, just talk about humor and the importance of it in our lives. And the fact that I hadn't thought about it until just now was, I guess, the further irony of, yes, you're just supposed to laugh at things. So really my question is, how much do you laugh? Like literally, whether it's from the people that you're with, your own inner thoughts, with your family, maybe touchy subject, just the things that happen, and what that means for you when unexpected things happen. And because, it's like the universe is really just like, don't take yourself too seriously. And yes, there are times when you are meant to, put your head down and get to work and get things done. And there are things that happen in our life that certainly create experiences where, we feel like we want to go into a place that things are not funny and they are real. And as we get older, we see more things that create those feelings. within us. So if you think about it, you know, and I guess it's like, you know, one of my favorite, I don't know, one of the examples that I am sort of, well, not like blown away by, but when Kevin Hart like first came out, and he's, to me, hilarious. I mean, just tears, you know, with the way that he was raised and the things that he experienced, and it was just like, you know, you're just crying at his, and you know what? That's the name of the special, Laugh at My Pain. And I did. And I guess that was expected because that was the title of the show. But, you know, you're like, oh my gosh, it's just crying at the way that, you know, he interacted with his dad, and, um, you know, living with his mom, who's a single mom, and you know, it just struck me like a week or two later, or whatever. It's like, if you take those circumstances and just put them on paper, or met him and he was not a comedian and was able to, you know, talk about those things or wanted to tell you about those things, they can be presented in a very realistic, sort of grim manner, you know, excuses for behavior, um, you know, why he gets to be a certain way and maybe have a chip on his shoulder. And again, this is not to take away from or disrespect anyone's experience that has those feelings or those needs or ideas. It's just meant to provide another perspective of what we might have an awareness around. And it was fascinating to me because I was like, if you really just take away what he just told us, it's like devastating. You know, a very difficult upbringing, to say the least. But when he presented it in such a way where it's like, oh my gosh, how did he turn something so, um, you know, just painful into something that not only, you know, caused him to laugh, but, you know, millions of other people are like, why is that hilarious? And so that's kind of like what the universe is saying. It's like, don't take yourself too seriously if, you know, if you can, if you don't have to, if you have the place for that, then look at those things around you. And one of my favorite, it's ongoing. I swear we're going to do it. But my husband and I call it This Week on the Smiths. And so we have what I would consider, I don't know, chaotic circumstances, unexpected things. It just doesn't often turn out the way we think it will. And I always say, like, we are on camera. And when we have a particularly, like, event full or event filled week, I'm like, the ratings are skyrocketing. Like, people have popcorn, like, here they go, you know, trying to do this. One of the examples One of the examples was, and there's many, hundreds, thousands probably, but like my, uh, someone sent my kids like these little tiny flying kites, and so it was like a beautiful windy day, and I was like, let's take them outside, and of course, I mean, daughter's completely like tangled up, she's crying. My son's like loops into her face. My husband has is like all over. It's in the grass. Um, you know, the it lasted for like, I don't know, 7, and it's like, this is the best day of my life, when it like worked and went in the air. One, like, the ribbon tore off, and it was about, I don't know, let's say 7 minutes of just like the highlight, like, we're gonna look like an amazing family flying kites in the yard, to one person's crying, missing a shoe, and then like one hit my son in the neck, and then my husband, like, you know, it's burning hot, it's not really loving it. And so carrying people and crying, my son storms up to his room. And I was just like, this is like, you know, season 3, episode 2, like the Smiths go fly a kite. Um, and it really just kind of brings home the point that, you know, life really is not happening to you. It really is happening for you. And if we can find a way to just fill those things that look, you know, irritating, disappointing, you know, disrespectful, devastating, and step back and say, this is another thing that has happened. And here I am, I'm still standing. You know, what am I meant to learn from this? And it's like, you know, don't, I mean, it doesn't have to be some like deep esoteric like meaning, like what does this really mean for my life? Is this a metaphor? And there is a lot of meaning in things that happen to us, and sometimes there are deeper meanings, but sometimes it's just like, yeah, don't do that again. You guys are not fit for like outdoor, you know, windy activities. So sometimes you learn like the simple lessons, like don't do that, you know, these shoes aren't good for you. You shouldn't, um, you know, whatever else it is that you just kind of get those quick messages like, this is not for me. Um, Kind of like if you're on a blind date or something, you sort of, you know, you have this conversation and no judgment, you know, but the other person says something, you're like, well, this is not for me. And you just move on. So what, I mean, literally like laughter, just, it breaks the mood. It allows you to, it literally has a physical release and it has an energetic release. When you can let go of that tightness and that heaviness and that intense like microscope on yourself that I'll never get out of this. Things are not going to work out. I can't believe this is happening. And put that bigger lens or bigger perspective on how much time is it crazy? Okay. And put that bigger perspective on this is something that happened. This is just another day. Another thing I saw that was my favorite was I do make a point that when it rains, and I truly believe it, but I also make a point to say it to my kids, but it's like it's raining, it's so beautiful. And now it's like, oh my gosh, and they get so excited, and I guess that could be a whole nother thing hmm, to talk about. But you know, it's just they get so excited, like everything's getting water, and in this instance, like the pollen is getting washed away. Um, and so, you know, you can really create a much lighter atmosphere. And the example was like, first one was like, it's raining, you know, this is garbage. I don't have boots. You know, who does this? And the second example was like, it's raining. And that was it, because that was just the truth. Um, you could take it a step further, like, I'm sure I'm going to slip and fall. Um, you know, my hair is going to be out to here. And that's what I try to do. I don't think I try anymore. I think it's the word unconscious. Maybe it's subconscious. I think if you're unconscious, you're not probably doing anything. Subconscious? Maybe. But I'm like, yeah, you know, something in the yard isn't working. Um, I'm sure I'm going to slip up, you know, and just sort of looking forward to those things that, you know, the universe is going to create experiences for you that give you the chance to not take life so seriously. And it's healthy. It's good for you. It's what you're, you know, that's really what our default can be. Um, and of course, again, not to downplay any very difficult experiences that people are going through or things that happen when there is a time for that. But for awareness and opportunities to do that, for the most part, you know, I wonder if I had it on my little values list. I feel like at one point I was taking life very seriously, and I think I'll do one on that, like the little values. But I literally was taking life too seriously, and I had humor, like on my values, because I knew it was important, but I wasn't able to find that place where, you know, I could sort of make time for that and figure out what I really enjoyed and that sort of allowed that release. So, you know, it's not to say that I do it all the time and I am like zippy all the time. It's just meant to say try to recognize when there's a chance for that. It's like, you know, you're having this very serious conversation with someone and um, you know, whether it's a kid or something that you see or like a loud noise or music, you know, that interrupts that mood. It just breaks it. Like, you know, one time my husband and I were having this conversation. It was kind of like, you know, discussion. That's what I like to call those. And, you know, and then my son's just like, fart. And you're just like, it broke everything. Like, we just busted out again. Probably busted out laughing. And, you know, how is it possible that if something is that serious, that something could break it that easily? And, you know, it makes you wonder, like, wow, it couldn't have had that much intensity to it. It was only that the um, the circumstances were trying to think of the word. It's like the perfect storm, but it's like I feel this way and I feel this way, and then it was kind of quiet, and you had the time to talk. Then it's just like this sort of formulaic way of like this could make something very serious if you go down the path, and but just as easily if something can break it, then it just so happened that you sort of got in your own head, and you're like, okay, well, you know what? First of all, you're like, well, this conversation is over because I can't keep a straight face, and you can't be mad if you have a straight face if you can't keep a straight face. So if you think about some of those things where you're starting to kind of get upset, get into your own head, I mean, just picture like some interruption, just like something that, or I don't know, maybe look up a funny scene from a movie or like your favorite something. And like I said, the physical action of like laughter just breaks something energetically so that you have the opportunity to just not take life so seriously. What if you have something in between your teeth and you're like really talking to somebody and they're just like, yeah, no, and can't keep a straight face. Um, you could be at this like important business lunch or something, walking to lunch, and a bird. That did happen to someone I know. They were like on a business lunch, discussing something important, like, okay, this deal is going to happen. As long as nothing gets on that suit. And then like bird poop, and it's like, what do you even say? So you just kind of go, yeah, this is my day. This is what we're talking about. Um, and you just laugh. And life can be so much more interesting when we do have those things. And that was also something I was thinking about was, um, you know, when you interact with people, whether it's, partner, spouse, kids, parents, whatever. I use kids just because I'm with them a lot. But I was thinking like what they would remember when they grow up. And of course, we have a lot of just bizarre things that happen. So they'll have a lot of things to choose from. Um, but it's like, remember that, month when nothing happened and we just like woke up and went to sleep? That was cool. And all of your childhood, and mine are really crazy because my childhood memories are like, oh yeah, remember that time I fell off the three wheeler or ran the go kart into a tree or got shot with a BB gun by my brother, and not accidentally. So, and it's funny because it's like, why do I remember those things? And on paper, it's like, oh my God, you poor thing. And then I'm like, no. And now it's hilarious, of course. Tragedy plus time is comedy. I do live by that. And, why is that what I don't remember? Like, I really liked that night we had rice and I went to bed on time. You just don't. So, how is it that life makes up these memories that are only filled with the things that were so unexpected? And oh gosh, people are probably dropped off 18 minutes. Okay, I'm wrapping it up. Um, but that's kind of what made me laugh. It's like, and then I was thinking, I was like, remember that summer I broke my arm? Remember when so and so wrecked its car? Remember when, I was lying about this and or I failed that test? So I think it actually allows you to go, yeah, I should probably save up money for my kids' therapy because they're going to need it later. But I know exactly what they're going to be talking about when they start those sessions. And, that's it. No one is like, remember nothing happened. They remember all the things that happened unexpectedly. And then how did you handle it? Because if they're happening either way, what was your response? And, what kind of atmosphere did you create when something frustrated you, made you upset, was unexpected? What kind of environment or reactions did you have? That's what people will remember. So, all right. Hope this was great. I hope everyone has an amazing week, in a good way and not disrespectful way. Like, lighten up, find some humor. Picture yourself on camera like the Truman Show. It helps amazingly because I'll look at the camera and I'll just be like, that's hilarious. These are going to be high ratings this week. So hopefully, you can sort of have this in the back of your mind and find ways that will lighten up circumstances that you're in or that might happen or that have happened. And of course, there is a time for, a sincere approach and taking it seriously and not to demean anyone's experiences, but just offering maybe a different perspective on things that might really help you or your loved ones. So Have a great week. Let's see, where's my little thing? Work your week, don't work this week, and I'll see you guys again later. Bye.